I'm Alan Colmes. Welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning us in. We're at 877-4-ALAN, 877-367-2526. Back to our phones. Paul in Raleigh. Hello.
Hey, Alan. Hey, my family's made up of Canadians and Irish, and it's Baptists and Catholics. And I polled my own side there, the Catholics, who are all Roman Catholic, and I think Obama stepped in it. I polled about 14 of them, and they don't want anything to do with them
Well,
anymore.
your poll, I don't think, is the one that's as scientific as the actual polls that show most Catholics use birth control, and most Catholics tend to not disagree with what the president's doing.
Right, but no, he's forcing it on the church. And
no, he's not forcing it on the church. The church, it's not the church. The church doesn't have to use it. The church is exempt. This is not the church. We're talking about public institutions that cater to the American public, that are places of public accommodation, not the church.
And the employees that work there.
Right.
And contraceptives are pretty inexpensive, and they can buy
That's all right. Not everybody can afford. Well, then that should apply to everybody, but it doesn't.
Well,
you can't have a separate rule for certain kinds of businesses and the same kind of businesses that appeal to the public or that play to the public or the places of a public accommodation. You can't do it. It's illegal against the law. Well, let them stop taking public money.
They feel that, they should.
Well, but until that happens, they have to abide by the rules.
Right, but I'm just saying he's losing. He's losing a lot of votes.
Well, he's really not. These are not people who are ever going to vote for him to begin with.
No, you're absolutely wrong. Yeah, I mean, the
Irish
side of my family is very liberal. They love him.
Well, then your family will vote for him. They're not going to vote for Mitt Romney.
No, but they probably will.
Well, fine. Then I think your family's probably not in keeping with most people are going to do. But thank you very much. If you take a poll among your family, you're not necessarily getting a scientific poll. Bob in Port Washington, hello.
Hey, Alan, I think your views are reprehensible.
My views are reprehensible, really?
Yes, exactly. Well, first of all, just getting back to history, in December, you brought in an atheist 5 days before Christmas to tell us how God doesn't exist, all right? So you're critiquing
wait. You can't both. Hold on, wait, stop. No, wait a minute. You can't. You can't. We can't both talk at the same time. I'm not going to let that go unresponded. I'm not going to let that go unresponded to, sir. I put people with all points of view on the show. I put atheists on. We have an Orthodox rabbi coming on in a few minutes. We had a priest on a few minutes ago. So I'm sorry you're so offended an atheist was on the show 5 days before Christmas, but that does not represent the totality of my guests. And besides, they have free speech rights, too, and should be heard in this country.
Okay, can I speak now?
Let's see if you can.
Yeah, Alan, I can speak very well. First of all, 5 days before Christmas is reprehensible. Because I think
it's not reprehensible because it's not. You made that point already, so I'm going to respond to it again. You're repeating yourself, and I repeat myself. There's nothing wrong with putting on an atheist on the radio.
Let me speak, okay? Can I move on now?
Then stop repeating yourself.
Aside from that, we'll move on from that 5 days before Christmas show you had.
All right. You've now said 5 days before Christmas 4 times.
Hang on a second. How dare you say that some poll represents the majority of Catholic opinion, and therefore we should abide by the government's ruling regarding what the Catholic Church should do.
Well, that's one of many reasons. I'm not saying we should abide. I'm not. Well, you're hold on. You're taking me out of context. Hold on a second. We can't both talk at the same time, so I'll put you on hold. I never said that's why we should abide by it. I said the point is you're not taking away people's religious freedom when most people don't regard that as a compromising of their freedom. Go ahead.
Hello.
And when I'm ready to speak, I'll put you on hold since you won't shut up.
Can I speak again?
Let's find out.
Am I on?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
But you don't want to have a conversation, so unless you're willing to have a two-way conversation, we're not going to continue.
As soon as I start to speak, you interrupt me.
No, because every time I answer you, you interrupt me. So either we have so get to your point and stop. So go ahead, you're on. Go.
Okay, fine. So you bring up a poll like, so the majority of Catholics believe this certain thing, and therefore the Catholic religion should abide by.
That's not. Now you're repeating yourself a second time. That's not what I did. I just answered that. You got another point to make? You said the same thing 3 times. You got another point to make?
No,
that's not what
Alan,
I did.
How many times do you repeat yourself in a freaking conversation? You're like a parrot, okay?
All right. Bye-bye. Kurt in Omaha, Nebraska. He kept repeating himself. He's the parrot, and he won't have a two-way conversation with me. Go ahead, Kurt.
Hey, Alan. Hey, the clip you had just played, I think it was the senator speaking, the gal. Anyway, basically I had to tell one make...
The gal. Jean Shaheen is the gal
Jean
who was
Shaheen.
speaking.
I couldn't remember her name, so I apologize. But ultimately, her premise is completely false, and this is why. So basically, you have marriage defined in the church as one thing, okay? obviously when I got married, it was basically a sacrament between my wife and I and God, okay? And then you have basically marriage defined by the government is the union between two people, and ultimately that's for tax purposes, divorce, that type of thing. So basically, if somebody does get divorced, obviously, in the state of Nebraska, you kind of split your holdings, 50-50. Now, when it comes down to it, basically what they're requiring the Catholic Church to do is ultimately basically throw their principles away in one of their
No, they're not. The church is not. It's not asking the church to throw their principles away. These are institutions. These are institutions that are not the church. They're hospitals. They're universities that have as consumers people who are not just Catholic and have employees who are not just Catholic.
That may be true, but at the same time, okay, there's a clear separation point. So, for instance, at Creighton University in Omaha, Nebraska, okay, they're run by the Jesuits, okay. Now, how is that not an affiliated Catholic institution?
Well, they're affiliated. Yeah, they're affiliated, but it's not the church.
But it's still run the majority by the church because ultimately,
as long as you are employing people of different faiths, as long as you are an employer who works in a place of public accommodation, who employs Americans who are not Catholic. And you're taking federal dollars, and you have to abide by the federal rules, you have to be played by the same rules as every other similar institution.
I highly disagree. Because ultimately,
you disagree.
You're still okay. Answer me this: why would they grant waivers to unions, to all these other places, but they won't do it for the church?
You got me.
It's mind-boggling, right?
Well, I can't answer that. I can't answer for the administration on that. However, they're not granting waivers on religious grounds. That's not the issue. So the waivers that they're being granted are for different reasons than religious reasons, and the government should stay religion neutral, and not grant waivers to people of certain religions because the government is supposed to stay religious neutral. Lewis in Chicago, hello.
Hi, Alan. I have a question for you, Alan. If you have a Muslim-run school or a Jewish Orthodox school, should they be forced to serve pork in their cafeterias?
No, because you're not open to everybody. Usually a Muslim school or a Jewish school has Jewish students, or Muslim students are not open to the public in terms of anybody can go to that school. We're talking about hospitals and institutions of higher learning that are open to the general public.
You mean that someone who's not Jewish can't work in a Jewish school?
I guess they could work there, but we're talking about health care. We're not talking about serving pork to people.
Well,
we're not talking about kitchen, kosher and non-kosher. We are talking about health care, a basic human right, by the way. Wayne in Richmond, Virginia, hello.
Hey, Alan, it's nice to talk to you again. It's obvious that the Catholic Church is an exclusive group, and all of the laws and regulations that you and I abide by do not pertain to them. They have their own set of rules, and they're tired of us picking at them.
Well, no one is stopping any Catholic from worshiping their faith as they choose, but if you are running a business, an institution, where you're serving the general public and employing people from the general public, you have to give them the same benefits as other similar institutions.
Alan, it's like, they don't understand that.
Well,
that's why you keep getting these phone calls from people, and then when you make that rational argument to them, it just goes right over their head, and they don't understand it.
Well,
they're convinced. They're convinced that they have an exclusive, impenetrable way of living that doesn't apply. That only applies to them if they're Catholic.
I wonder
it's crazy.
I wonder if the same people would support special government accommodations for Muslims. If the government were to say we're gonna make special rules for Muslims, where Muslims don't have to provide or do certain things that are under federal law as an employer you'd have to do, would they have the same open attitude?
No. Oh, and another thing.
I don't have time for another thing. I'm sorry.
Tax the church.
Well, okay. Thank you very much. We have, as long as we're covering all religions here tonight, an Orthodox rabbi, Shmuley Boteach, and his book, Kosher